1973 was a year of warm vinyl crackle, backseat summer drives, and radio stations that felt like family. Songs bloomed and faded like memories. Some became legends, and others slipped quietly into the attic of time. Today, we're dusting off those forgotten gems, like the sweet swing of Leaving Me. First time we met. And the heart-tugging bloom still waiting at number 1. These are the one-hit R&B wonders of 1973, the ones you remember, even if you haven't heard them in years. Number 10, Misdemeanor by Foster Sylvers.
It's no big deal. She's not the real.
There was something almost magical about the Sylvers family, a Los Angeles group of brothers and sisters who could harmonize like sunrise over city rooftops.
It's going to suck time. She stole my heart, but it's just a bit.
And in 1973, the youngest of them, little Foster Sylvers, stepped into the spotlight with a single that felt playful, breezy, and impossible not to move to. Misdemeanor had that early 70s bounce, light percussion, swaying bass, and Foster's boyish, mischievous vocals riding on top like a summer breeze. What's wild is how this song lived on even when people forgot where it came from.
You got to get over it. Loved her from the start. What you gonna do?
Decades later, its groove became a secret ingredient for hip-hop, sampled by everyone from the DOC to Notorious B.I.G. That's the legacy of this track. Songs come and go, but rhythm has memory. Picture it.
You're what I need.
Windows down, radio humming, the world a little slower. That was Misdemeanor. And if this one's got you smiling, just wait. We're only getting warmer. Number 9, Try It, You'll Like It by Ultimate. Ultimate was one of those groups that flashed onto the scene with a sound that felt perfectly in step with the moment. Smooth string arrangements, a mellow groove, and harmonies that wrapped around you like warm evening air. Released in 1973 on the Motown distributed label Moist, Try It, You'll Like It had everything it needed to be a summer radio staple. And for a brief window, it was. The track had this inviting, almost teasing sway to it, a friendly grin over a slow dance rhythm. It played well on late-night radio sets, where DJs would speak soft and close to the mic, letting the song stretch across neighborhoods like perfume on the breeze. And yet, despite the polish and promise, Ultimate never had a follow-up hit that stuck. The group seemed to fade just as quickly as they arrived, a whisper of a moment in the long story of soulful grooves. But here's the thing about songs like this: they don't disappear. They just wait. Every now and then, a record collector pulls this single from a dusty crate, drops the needle, and suddenly, 1973 is right there again. The soft glow of porch light, the slow sway on a hardwood floor, two hearts beating just a little too close for words. If Misdemeanor was playful youth, Try It, You'll Like It was the warm late-night promise of grown-up romance. And speaking of romance, the next one on our list comes from a group who knew how to ache on a record. Number 8, The Love We Had Stays on My Mind by the Dells. Note, while the Dells had hits across decades, this particular track in 1973 was their lone major charting standout of the year, making it a one-hit moment for the era, not their whole career. By 1973, the Dells were already veterans, 20 years deep into harmonies polished like smooth stone. But this song, this one hit differently. The Love We Had Stays on My Mind was a slow burn confession, The kind you don't play around people unless you're ready to remember something you've been trying to forget. Released on the Cadet label, it carried that Chicago soul ache. Warm horns, gentle strings, and the kind of vocal blend that sounded like memories folding back into you. Marvin Jr.'s voice didn't just sing heartbreak. It seemed to hold it, cradle it, breathe it out like a sigh you've been carrying too long. And here's a bit of studio lore. During the recording, engineers dimmed the lights to almost pitch black. The group wanted to feel the loneliness in the room, to let the shadows speak. And you can hear it. That quiet, empty room echo that sounds like love lingering long after someone's gone. This was the kind of song you'd hear late on a quiet Sunday radio show. A DJ whispering after midnight, vinyl crackling, the world outside still.
And lately I've been so uninspired.
It didn't need to be loud. It just needed to be true. If the last track was about closeness, this one is about the space someone leaves behind. And next, we shift to something silky smooth that danced right between soul and early quiet storm elegance. Number 7, Why Can't We Live Together by Timmy Thomas.
Why can't we live together?
Now this one feels like it's floating in the air even before the record starts spinning. Timmy Thomas didn't use a full band, didn't crowd the rhythm, didn't try to over-polish anything. All he needed was that haunting organ, a simple drum machine pulse, and a voice that sounded like it had seen too much and was still hoping anyway.
No more wars, no more wars. All we want.
Released in 1973 on Glades Records, Why Can't We Live Together came at a time when America was still heavy with the weight of war, division, and change. Timmy wasn't preaching, he was pleading. The song wasn't a grand orchestral anthem, it was intimate, raw, almost unfinished, and that was the point.
Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live?
There's a story that Timmy chose the organ tone because he said it felt like church and street corners at the same time. And when you hear it, that slow wail, that echo, it really does. You can picture the small clubs in Miami where he played, the crowd sitting still, just listening. No one daring to talk over a moment that felt sacred. What's incredible is how this simple track echoed across generations. Sampled by Drake decades later on Hotline Bling. Reimagined for new hearts, new nights, new stories. Timmy Thomas didn't chase a chart run.
No matter what color.
But this one recording became timeless all on its own. If the Dells gave us Heartbreak Remembered, Timmy gave us a question the world is still trying to answer. But our next track? Now that one brought the rooftop joy, the kind of groove that could turn a neighborhood block into a dance floor. Number 6, I'm Doing Fine Now by New York City.
Oh, girl, I'm doing fine now.
There's a certain kind of heartbreak song that doesn't moan or cry. It smiles through the bruise. And that's exactly what New York City delivered in 1973 with I'm Doing Fine Now. This was their moment. A quick shining spotlight on the soul pop stage. Released under Chelsea Records, the group came up in an era when lush string sections and crisp rhythm guitars were shaping a new, upbeat flavor of R&B.
Cried myself today. Oh, yeah.
The production had that unmistakable Tom Bell touch. Bright horns, velvet harmonies, and a bass line that walked with quiet confidence. But listen a little closer, and you can hear the ache hiding beneath the optimism. That moment where you say you're all right, just loud enough to convince yourself. The lead vocal had a warmth that felt lived in, like a painful memory finally cooling down.
Ran behind you and I begged you to stay. Oh, yeah.
For a brief time, I'm Doing Fine Now floated on radio waves everywhere. Car dashboards, corner record shops, neighborhood cookouts. And then, just like that, New York City faded from the charts. But the song stuck around in people's hearts, resurfacing every so often when someone digs through old 45s and lets the groove spill back into the room.
Without you, baby.
This track was healing set to rhythm. Proof that moving on can still have a melody. If these forgotten 1973 grooves are bringing back a memory, go ahead and like this video. It helps keep this soul history alive. And don't go anywhere. We've still got 5 more rare gems to uncover. Number 5, Leaving Me by the Independents.
First time we met.
Now, here's a record that could stop time. Leaving Me by the Independents was one of those slow dance heartbreak anthems that felt like it was written for anybody who ever watched someone walk away and couldn't do a thing about it. Released on the Wand label in 1973, it rose beautifully up the R&B charts. Then, just as quickly, the group's spotlight dimmed, leaving this song as their shining signature moment.
But I just love you, baby. Oh,
The Independents were formed around Chuck Jackson, not the Chuck Jackson from Motown, a different one. And their harmonies had the softness of late-night confessions. The arrangement here is pure Chicago soul. Warm strings, simmering bass, drums that move slow and careful, like the heart trying not to break too loudly. There's a story that the song's emotional powers came from reality.
you seem to stay on my mind.
Members of the group were dealing with real romantic endings, real distance, real loss. And when they stepped into the booth, they didn't perform heartbreak. They remembered it. That's why the vocals feel like a quiet tremble, like the voice of someone trying not to beg even though every part of them wants to. Picture a dim-lit living room in '73. The record spinning, the lights low, someone sitting alone on the edge of the couch, staring at nothing. This wasn't just a song. It was a moment that lived in people's chest for years. If I'm Doing Fine Now was about healing with a smile, Leaving Me was what came right before that smile was possible. And next, we're stepping into a groove with a little more swagger. A track that could turn a dance floor into a celebration in under 10 seconds. Number 4, Doing It to Death Part 1 by Fred Wesley and the JBs. Credited to Fred Wesley and the JBs, but stamped with James Brown's unmistakable energy. Now, if the last track was heartbreak, this one is pure funk revival. Released in 1973 under People Records, Doing It to Death Part 1 is one of those songs that walked into the room already sweating.
Look at him! We're gonna have a fun.
The horns hit first, sharp, confident, proud. Then the bass slides in like it knows exactly where your shoulders are about to go. And over it all, that unmistakable James Brown call and response hype, even though the spotlight name belonged to bandleader Fred Wesley. This track didn't need elegance or romance. It was movement captured on vinyl. It sounded like Saturday afternoon block parties, dance floors packed shoulder to shoulder, somebody yelling, "Hit it," with no microphone necessary.
I don't dig Jimmy. I don't like Jimmy. I'm not a. No, I don't.
The JBs had a talent for turning repetition into hypnosis. That groove looped so deep it didn't just stay in your ears. It settled right into your spine. And here's the thing. While James Brown had endless hits, the JBs themselves only had this one moment that cracked the mainstream. This was their one lightning strike. Their proof that the band behind the Godfather of Soul could hold the spotlight on their own, if only for a breath.
You wanna do it again? You wanna do it again? Huh? Yeah, let's go on back. We gotta take you high.
Imagine sweat-beaded brows, platform shoes stomping sidewalk cement, the smell of barbecue drifting across the block. That's doing it to death, not just a song, a pulse. And if you think that groove was infectious, the next track took funk and wrapped it in full-blown joy. The kind of joy that makes you forget anyone's watching. Number 3, Who's Gonna Take the Weight by Kool and the Gang. Before Kool and the Gang became the smooth, chart-topping masters of late 70s celebration jams, they were a raw, horn-heavy funk ensemble. Young, hungry, and playing like they had something to prove. And in 1973, Who's Gonna Take the Weight became their one big R&B moment of the year. A breakout groove that snapped, strutted, and asked a question bigger than music itself. This track wasn't written for slow dancing or romance. It was built for movement. The drums hit square in the chest. The horns didn't decorate the groove. They drove it. And that bass line, it didn't walk. It marched. You could feel it in the soles of your shoes. It was funk with conscience, swagger with purpose. The phrase itself, "Who's gonna take the weight?" was a phrase passed through black campuses and community meetings at the time. It meant, who's going to carry the responsibility? Who's going to move things forward? Who's going to do the work that needs to be done? Kool and the Gang turned that idea into a musical call to rise up, not with fists, but with rhythm. And here's the lasting legacy. While the mainstream didn't quite know where to place the song at the time, hip-hop sure did. In the decades that followed, Who's Gonna Take the Weight became a holy scripture of sampling. Gang Starr turned it into philosophy. Countless DJs used it to wake crowds up. This wasn't just funk, it was foundation. But don't get too serious just yet, because the next one is sweet, sweet summertime soul. The kind that tastes like peach cobbler and sunlight. Number 2, Sideshow by Blue Magic. Now this is Heartbreak wearing theater makeup. Released in 1973 on the Atco label, Sideshow was Blue Magic's moment. A single so dramatic, so tender, and so beautifully staged that it sounded like a love story performed under a spotlight. The group came out of Philadelphia, and you can hear every ounce of that Philly soul elegance in the arrangement. The soft strings, the gliding bass, the whispered harmonies that feel like someone leaning close to tell you a secret. The song opens with that unforgettable carnival intro, a sad, lonely circus theme meant to represent love gone wrong. It was a bold move. It told listeners right away, this isn't just a breakup. This is a spectacle of emotion. And when Ted Mills steps in with that fragile, reaching falsetto, it's like the world stops just to listen. There's a story that the group recorded the song in near silence. The producers asked everyone in the studio to hold still, not even shuffle their feet, to preserve the delicate atmosphere. And you can feel that quiet in every note. Heartbreak here isn't angry. It isn't loud. It's tired. It's soft. It's someone standing in front of a crowd trying to pretend they're okay, while the center of their chest feels like it's collapsing. For a brief moment in '73, this song was everywhere. It floated out of open windows in city apartments, spilled from jukeboxes in corner bars, and soundtracked 1,000 slow dances where someone held on just a little too long. And if this track was pure emotional theater, our number one is the song that lived in the heart of 1973, the one that could make a room go still with just the first few seconds. Number 1. Could It Be I'm Falling in Love by the Spinners.
Happy boy, and honey, you'll always be.
Now here's where the heart lands, softly, warmly, like a memory you never meant to forget. Released in late '72 but truly blooming on the charts in 1973, Could It Be I'm Falling in Love wasn't just a song. It was a moment suspended in honeyed sunlight.
You say that you are so helpless too.
The Spinners had just moved to Atlantic Records, pairing with producer Tom Bell, who gave them that lush, cloud-soft Philly sound that defined slow-burning romance for a generation. Everything in this track feels gentle. The satin harmonies, the feather-light guitar strokes, the shimmering strings that sweep in like the first warm day after a long, cold season. Bobby Smith's lead vocal doesn't plead or boast. It glows. You can hear new love in his voice, that hopeful, trembling sweetness of someone realizing they might finally be safe in someone's arms. And the story goes, the group recorded this one late at night, voices tired, hearts open. And the magic came not from perfection but from comfort, the kind of comfort you can't fake. This was the Spinners' one great defining hit of 1973. The song that stayed, the one that followed people through high school dances, weddings, quiet kitchen slow dances decades later. Some songs are tied to a year. This one is tied to every moment love first makes sense. From playful grooves to late-night heartbreak confessions, to romance that still feels fresh 50 years later. 1973 gave us memories wrapped in melody. These forgotten one-hit R&B wonders may not have stood in the spotlight for long, but they left fingerprints on our hearts that never truly faded. Thank you for taking this soulful stroll with us. Your presence keeps this music alive. If you enjoyed revisiting these hidden gems, make sure to subscribe so you never miss the next chapter in our soul story journey. And speaking of next, click on the end screen video to roll straight into 10 R&B songs from 1974 we'll never forget. Let's keep the groove going.